Chapnick, and this is a brand new 2009 episode of You and Your Health. I want to wish everyone a happy and healthy new year. And the day of this taping is January 20th, 2009. A very important day in American history. Today we inaugurated our new president, Barack Obama. And leading up to his candidacy and his election, his platform was time for a change. And I thought that beginning this year, that what I really want to see for my patients, for everyone out there who aren't my patients now, I think it's time for a change. And I think that it's time for a change in how we perceive our bodies, how we perceive where health comes from, and what we expect of ourselves. And maybe start to change our view of where health comes from. And I think where it has to start from is, where do we think health comes from, and how do we see our bodies and how it works? So I guess the question that I would start out with first is, I want to know how many people out there either think that our bodies are genetically predetermined to be sick or genetically predetermined to be healthy. You see, I'm of the mind that our bodies are supposed to be healthy. They're supposed to work well. And in a very small percentage, obviously, that there are going to be some times where genetics plays a role and there's a real problem and we can't express our true health. But for the most part, our bodies are designed to really work well. It's a fabulous machine. And it's a machine that, if we give it what it needs, it has the ability to work well and function the way that it's intended. So the way I look at health is that if there is a lack of health, and if we are genetically programmed to be healthy, then there's two really only reasons why we're really unhealthy. One is we're doing some things to our body that we shouldn't, or on the other hand, doing some things to our, doing some things that we shouldn't, or not doing some things that we should. Really only two reasons. So if we look at health from that perspective, we have a blueprint of what we need to do to be healthy. And what I'm going to share with you tonight is a reminder, if you will, of the things that we should be doing on a regular basis to be as healthy as we can be. You see, there's no magic to it, because our body is already designed to work well. It's this beautifully self-sustaining, self-healing, self-regulating organism that if we just give it what it needs and don't give it what it doesn't need, it's going to work fine. So what I'm going to go over with you tonight is the things that I regularly will educate my patients on. And if right now, January 2009, each and every one of you commits to changing something and improving something in your health, then I guarantee you that 2009 will be healthier for you than 2008. And I guarantee you that for a good number of you, you already know a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about. So just let this be a reminder to you. You see, I refer to what I call the 5 or 6 facets of health. And that if each one of you were doing each one of these 5 or 6 things better in the future than you are right now, then you would have no choice but to be healthier. Being a chiropractor, I look at health as doing these 6 things. And I'm going to explain these 6 things to you now. Actually, I'm going to, for time purposes, we're going to cut it down to 5. That number one, being a chiropractor, I understand that as the nervous system controls everything that goes on in the body, that you have to have a properly functioning nervous system for your body to work well. That's number one. Number two, there should be some form of exercise on a regular basis. That number 3, you should be eating properly. And number 4, you should be getting the rest that you need. And number 5, you need to have a positive mental attitude. So I'm going to take numbers 1 through 5, and we're going to hit the highlights. And obviously, I can't go into a long lecture on all of these things, but I'm going to give you the highlights so that you understand where I'm coming from, and that if there are some of these things that you're not doing as well as you should or not doing at all, I'm going to encourage you. Let 2009 be the year that you change your health for the better for your future. For your future, for your family's future, for your friend's future. It's now time. So let's go to a properly functioning nervous system. I am a chiropractor, and that's where chiropractic lives and breathes. You see, most people still think of chiropractors as the doctor you go to when your back hurts. Well, that's really not what chiropractic is all about. Chiropractic is about getting your spine working properly so that your nervous system, the system that controls everything, works to the best of its ability. So I'm going to give you a little bit of an anatomy lesson. I have my friendly neighborhood spine here. And we're going to go through a little bit of anatomy so you can get an idea of what a spine should do and what it shouldn't do. And then I'm going to tie in how it now affects the nerves. So I'm going to introduce you to George. George is the spine that I use in my office on a regular basis to talk to my patients on what it should and shouldn't do. So here's your basic average spine. It's got 24 separate vertebrae, 7 in the neck, 12 in the mid-back, and 5 in the low back, cervical, thoracic, and lumbar. And for your spine to work properly, it needs to be able to do 2 things. It needs to be able to line up properly and move properly. So lining up properly, if you look at a spine from behind, it should be straight up and down. It shouldn't be twisted. Shouldn't be bent. This is your spine. Is your spine on drugs? It's a little chiropractic humor. Now, usually I get an audience to laugh at me. I wish we had a laugh track because I thought that was kind of funny. So we should have proper alignment. When you look at a spine from the side, there's also proper alignment. Forward curve, backward curve, forward curve. That's normal. Now, it also needs to be able to move properly. So there are 24 separate vertebrae, and being as they're separate, there should be a certain amount of motion at every single level. Well, what happens is over the course of time, due to what we call 3 forms of stress, physical, chemical, and emotional, I'll discuss those in just a second, that these vertebrae over the course of time either can start to shift out of the normal position or they can get stuck. Think of it like you're playing basketball and you jam your knuckle. It hurts like anything, and then if you really jam it good, it starts to swell up, it turns black and blue. Well, when a vertebrae is either out of its normal position or the vertebrae get kind of stuck, then the joints where the vertebrae come together start to get irritated, much like that jammed knuckle. Now, because the nerves come out from between the vertebrae right next to the joint, once that joint gets irritated, it starts to irritate those nerves. Once those nerves get irritated, then that starts to affect how the body works. Now, it's easy to understand that if a nerve gets irritated or pinched or smushed or whatever you want to call it, it could cause pain. But more importantly, it causes an irritation to these nerves, causing these nerves to change the information that's going out to the body parts. Now, these nerves go out to every single body part, every cell, every tissue, every organ, every system in your body. And once these nerves start to get irritated, then it's going to change the information going to all of those body parts. So if a nerve right in here is going to your stomach, it could alter the amount of acid that gets formed in your stomach. It could be too much, too little. Maybe even we could call it acid reflux. If a nerve up here starts to get irritated, it could cause a change in how your lungs work. Maybe we call it asthma. If a nerve down here gets irritated, and these nerves are going to your large intestine, maybe you could have some diarrhea or constipation. You see, there may very well be a neurological component to almost anything that goes on in your body. Now, when that vertebrae is out of its normal position or stuck, we call that a subluxation. And subluxations can cause almost anything that goes on in the body. Now, I am not going to tell you that subluxations cause every ailment that goes on in the body, but it certainly is a potential cause. And I have to tell you, I see subluxations causing so many different things in my office on a regular basis. Chiropractic is not a cure for gastric reflux, but I've seen cases go away in our office. I've seen cases of constipation and diarrhea go away. I've seen cases of, Lord, you name it, go away in our office just with chiropractic care. Now, for the most part, most people don't come to see a chiropractor because they're constipated, they have diarrhea, or they have asthma. They come to see us because their low back hurts, their neck hurts, their mid-back hurts, they have headaches, things like that. But the wonderful thing about chiropractic is once people are under care, then all sorts of things start to change. All sorts of things start to improve. It's literally like giving your body a tune-up and getting it working the way that it's supposed to. You see, our body's a machine. And I defy anyone to give me or name a machine that needs absolutely no maintenance. And we don't think of our bodies as a machine because we just expect it to work. We expect it to continue to do the things we want to do, and then we get very frustrated when all of a sudden it starts to break down. Well, here it is. It starts to break down because we don't take care of it the way that we should. It is a machine, and it needs proper maintenance. It needs proper care. We need to give it the things that we should be giving it and avoid the things that it shouldn't be having. So as a chiropractor, I really think that making sure the spine and the nervous system is working to its best ability on a regular basis helps keep the body as really healthy as it can possibly be. Now, I told you that there are 3 forms of stress that can cause subluxations: physical, chemical, emotional. Very quickly, from a physical standpoint, slips and falls and shoveling and car accidents, sitting improperly for long periods of time, using poor body mechanics on a regular basis. The guy who bends over to tie his shoes and can't get up, well, it's not because he just tied his shoes, it's because of using poor body mechanics over the course of time. And what I tell my patients is, by the time you get into a chiropractor's office, for the most part, something's been building for a long enough period of time. That's physical stress. Chemical stress: we eat poorly, we smoke, we drink, we live in a polluted environment, we take illegal drugs, and obviously I don't recommend that, and even prescription drugs. Every drug has a side effect. And because every drug has a side effect, it has an effect on your body. I'm not anti-drug. I'm anti-drug when it's in place of a healthy lifestyle. Most of the medications out there are lifestyle type drugs. And for the most part, when people start taking better care of themselves, their high blood pressure starts to go away, their cholesterol starts to come down, their diabetes can start to go away. Most of the drugs that are taken are just lifestyle drugs. And if we start taking better control of our health and taking better care of ourselves, then son of a gun, the need for these drugs start to go away. And then there's emotional stress. Maybe one of the most challenging times in our history is right now. I can't think of anyone who's not under tremendous stress. And we've heard the old adage, stress can kill you, haven't we? Of course it can. Well, if stress can kill you, do you think it can probably cause other changes in your body as well? Do you think it can start to cause muscles to start to tighten up? And muscles are attached to bone, and if muscles are so tight and can start to pull on these bones, don't you think that maybe you can pull one of these bones out of whack and cause a subluxation? Of course it can. So there's chemical, physical, and emotional stresses all causing subluxations, and quite frankly, I don't know how people can get away without getting subluxated. And if you are subluxated, you're not as healthy as you can be. But chiropractic is not the only path to health. It's not the only thing you should be doing. I let you know at the top of the show that there are other things that you should be doing. Everyone should be exercising. Look, it's part of health. And for the most part, here's what I understand, that those people who don't exercise, they're just not making time for it. And I think that in most cases, we make the time to do the things that we want to do, not necessarily do the things that we should be doing. And if you're not exercising, you're not doing part of the jigsaw puzzle to be as healthy as possible. So at least 3 to 4 times per week, at least 30 minutes to an hour each time. You need to get some cardiovascular exercise. You need to exercise your heart muscle, your body's most important muscle, and you need to do some toning of the rest of your muscles. You need to stay nice and stretched out, because as we get older, we start to lose flexibility and we start to lose balance. One of the best things that you can be doing for that is working on those big exercise balls, those big rubber balls that sometimes when we buy, we have in the house and our kids use them as just fun balls. Well, it is the best way to improve your core strength. And your core strength is more critical than any other form of strength that you have in your body. So there's that. You want to exercise all other parts in your body. And again, you want to maintain some good cardiovascular strength. That's exercise. And again, 3 to 4 times per week, 30 to 60 minutes at a time. And for most people, everyone can get that into their routine. So that's exercise. Then there's nutrition. I really don't know that there's many people out there who really and truly don't know what to eat, that they really are confused that, oh God, what's healthier, a Big Mac or a salad? I really don't know many people who feel that way. So the bottom line is most of us really do know what we should eat. We just choose not to. And I do understand that, God, the stuff that really tastes good is really bad for you. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I live the most clean and perfect diet. I don't. But I can tell you that I eat healthier than most people. Now, what should you be doing? On my shows, I always have a glass of water. It's a critical mistake to not drink enough water. Now, the old rule used to be 8 8-ounce glasses per day. That's what most people recognize to be that they should be doing to drink to stay hydrated. Well, that's really the old rule. And here's how I'm going to convince you that that's an old rule. Would it make sense to you that someone who weighs 400 pounds may or should drink more water than someone who weighs 100 pounds? Makes sense to you, doesn't it? Well, the amount of water you drink really should be based upon your body weight. So the new rule of water intake is 1 liter of water for every 50 pounds you weigh. Now, let's call 2 liters one of those old half gallons, because I still think in gallons. So if you weigh 100 pounds, you should be drinking one of those big gallon jugs of water per day. Now, wait a minute. 2 liters is a half gallon. 2 liters. If you're 50 pounds or 100 pounds, you should be drinking one of those half-gallon jugs of water per day. 200 pounds, obviously, then 4 liters of water. That's what you should be drinking. Now, vitamins, minerals, supplements, I think it's a smart idea. Why? Because even if you have the world's most perfect diet, you're probably still not getting everything you need. So I recommend people go to a good health food store. Find a good multivitamin, multi-mineral, one that's bioavailable, one that your body can break down, one that doesn't have a lot of junk in it. Some of the multivitamins, multi-minerals that most people know really are those that are least good for you, because there's too much junk in them that your body just can't break down and your body just can't utilize as best as possible. Omega-3 fatty acids. If there's one supplement that you do take, I think that's the one. There's more and more studies that come out these days that show just how important omega-3 fatty acids are. It's food for the nervous system is really what it is. Just like your muscles need protein and your bones need calcium, your brain and nervous system needs omega-3 fatty acids. They show that it's great for, that people with Alzheimer's can start to improve with omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-3 fatty acids are shown to be cancer-fighting, great for your joints, great for your digestive system. It can probably grow hair on a cue ball if they do the study for it. I think that it can do almost anything. So I recommend people get a good omega-3 fatty acid. And when you do, again, just be careful on what you get. Make sure that on the label it says pharmaceutical grade. If not, then there's a lot of stuff in there that you don't need, and it's going to kind of decrease the effectiveness of the omega-3 fatty acid. Fresh is best. Fresh fruits, vegetables are best. Chicken and fish, baked, broiled, not fried. When you eat your vegetables, again, fresh, frozen, okay, canned. Here's a good rule of thumb: if bacteria won't eat it, why should you? So those are some of the basic tenets of nutrition. Obviously, there's a lot more that goes into it, but for the purposes of the show, we're going to stop right there. Sleep. Our body heals when we're at rest. And when our body is fighting something, when it's going through something, we need to make sure that we give it the rest that it needs. That's when our body heals and repairs and revitalizes itself. So you want to make sure that you get a good 8 hours of sleep per night. That's what the body needs. The way you look at it is this. Hang on. If the average person sleeps 8 hours a night, and the average person, say they live to 75, by the time you hit 75, you will have slept 25 years. Name anything else in the world that you do that much. Absolutely nothing. So if you're going to be sleeping for a third of your life, you also have to make sure that you have the right equipment. So mattresses are designed to last 7 to 10 years. After 10 years, it's just not supporting you properly, and then you need to now get a new one. So if your mattress was old enough to vote in the last election, yeah, it's time to get a new one. So what should you be sleeping on? Years ago, it was easy. Sealy Serta Simmons. Now there's so many other kinds of mattresses. There's, well, waterbeds have been around for a while, and now there's the latex foam mattress, and then there's the air type mattress, the sleep number type mattress. So there's a lot of different choices. Obviously, it's a personal decision, and you know that you're getting a good night's sleep and you're sleeping on something good is if you wake up in the morning and you feel refreshed. So if I had a preference, what do I recommend to my patients? I really believe that the air-type mattress is the best because you can literally change the settings on a daily basis if you so desire and get the setting that's right for you at a given time. And especially if you're sharing your mattress with a partner, what they like may not be what you like. So I really believe that the air mattress and Sleep Number or the Select Comfort is the one that most of us know is probably the best choice. I do know that there's another mattress out there called iSleep. It's not a mattress that most people are aware of because you can only find it online, and most people don't like to buy something like that online, but I can tell you that it's a fabulous company, and it has taken this whole air mattress thing to a whole new level, and I really believe it's the best mattress out there. And if you wanted information on it, you can just go to isleep.com. Now, positions. There should be only 2 positions to sleep in at night. You're either on your back or on your side. If you're sleeping on your stomach, then really what you're doing is you're forcing your head to the side for hours on end because you do have to breathe. And I defy anyone to keep their head like this for 8 hours at a time and not expect to have a problem with your neck. Only makes sense, doesn't it? So you really want to make sure that you're either sleeping on your side or sleeping on your back, and make sure that you have a pillow underneath your head so that your head remains in a neutral position. You want it properly supported. We're running out of time, so we're going to go real quickly through the next one. Positive mental attitude. What we say has a direct effect on our health. What we feel and what we believe has a direct effect on our health. And I refer to something called negative self-talk. Most people will ask you in casual conversation, how you doing? Now, if we know for sure, or at least I know for sure, that most people who are asking that question really don't care. It's a throwaway line. And what I also know is that all too often people will answer that question with not too bad. Don't think about it, it's a throwaway line, yeah, I'm not too bad. But from a psychological perspective, what our brain gets is bad. So what we just did is we just characterize ourselves in a negative way, which is never good for us. And we can probably switch pretty good for not too bad, and it still means the same thing. And now what our brain has got is good versus bad. It's absolutely better. When people ask me, how am I doing? At the very least, it's great. Because if pretty good is better than not too bad, then great has got to be better than pretty good. I've been known to be fabulous, outstanding, superb, and I got to tell you, you do this to enough people, they're going to wonder, all right, what are you doing that I'm not? Because I'm not excellent. So what I recommend is start to change the way you think. Do some meditation, prayer, all fabulous ways of getting your brain working to its best level. You see, these are the things that we need to be doing to be healthy. We need to have a properly functioning nervous system. We need to exercise. We need to eat well. We need to get the sleep and rest we need. And we need to keep our brain and our attitude up. The better we do each of these 5 things on a regular basis, the healthier we're going to be. You see, it's 2009. And there's always another day, there's always another week, there's always another month, there's always another year. But as we get older, it's more critical that we take care of ourselves. For us, for our families, for everyone we deal with. Sooner or later, there's got to be time for a change. A change in ourselves, a change in the way we view our health and how our body works. You see, no one has ever gotten sick because they didn't have enough drugs in their body or they had too many body parts. It's never happened. You see, we get sick or we get ill is when we live an unhealthy lifestyle. And it's up to us. It's up to us each individually. What do you think might happen if we all started taking more responsibility for our health? We all started taking better care of ourselves. You see, I firmly believe that there wouldn't be a healthcare crisis in this world. What would happen if we all started exercising, if we all started eating well, if we all started doing all the things that we should be doing and using a chiropractor as the way? So I'm charging you right now. Do something different. Make a change. Improve your health. Find out about chiropractic and how chiropractic can help make you healthy. I'm Dr. Sandy Chapnick with You and Your Health, and I wish you the healthiest year possible. Good night, everybody.